Welcome to this tutorial on the systems thinking method known as ActorMaps. This is one of a series of tutorials on methods, tools, approaches and frameworks to support you in your systems thinking and practice. Let's first look at the function of ActorMaps, or what it is that they do. Well, first of all, they serve as a tool for thinking and as a social object for conversation. Like many systems thinking methods, they give you a reason to get together to look at a particular situation or system in more depth, often using diagramming methods. They represent actors in a system's context and allow situations to be considered not just by reduction or analysis, but by enlarging or synthesis. They also do not show interactions, influence or causation, but they do provide you with the information needed to do that with other methods that are also part of this suite of tools. Let's now go on to the purpose of ActorMaps, or more precisely what it is that they allow you to do. So they provide a tool to help develop understanding of the stakeholders or actors involved in the situation or system via a simple high-level diagram. So with an ActorMap, you can identify stakeholders of interest who are affected by, or who affect, past, present or future system or situation. In the context of the development of ActorMaps, they were specifically designed to help in the analysis of accident scenarios, but there's no reason why they should be restricted to that. They can also be used for normal, everyday work, or indeed something that you want to do in the future, perhaps a change process, although that's not strictly within the scope of the original method. Second, they help you to identify who should be subject to more detailed work analysis, perhaps by interview, observation, or other primary data collection methods. They also help to prepare for other diagramming approaches, specifically within this suite of tools, InfoMaps and ActorMaps. ActorMaps are a tool that help you to look at causation in the context specifically of an accident scenario. But again, there's no reason why an ActorMap should be restricted just to an accident. They can also be used in the context of normal everyday work. And finally, they're a tool to help you communicate to others, the stakeholders of interest for your particular purpose. ActorMaps were outlined in most detail in this book from the year 2000 by Rasmussen and Svedung, and this was produced for the Swedish Rescue Services Agency. It's free to download on the internet using the URL on the screen right now. In this book, you can see a few references to ActorMaps. So the first is that it notes we need an analysis of decision making during normal work of work planners, managers and legislators, specifically in the context of an accident scenario and all of the activities that precede that. They say that an ActorMap is an extract of the generic ActorMap showing the involved decision makers. To support planning of the interviews and field studies of detailed work and communication analysis, a more specific ActorMap is useful. So there's a reference there to the ActorMap and the InfoMap in terms of the communication analysis. Finally, they say that such an ActorMap gives an overview of the decision-making bodies involved in the preparation of the landscape through which an accidental flow of events may ultimately evolve. So you can see that ActorMaps were developed originally to look at accident scenarios, but as I mentioned earlier, you can use them for all sorts of purposes. Don't be constrained by that original purpose. This is one of the diagrams in this book, and it's also in an earlier paper from 1997 by Jens Rasmussen, and it shows the various bodies and groups that may be involved in essentially helping to control risks presented by a hazardous process. So we have public opinion on the left there, which influences government, and then we have the government passing down laws essentially to regulators, who then pass down regulations to companies, who pass down policy to management, and plans to staff, who enact all of this in the form of their day-to-day work. On the right hand side of the chart you can see environmental stresses. So we have the changing political climate and public awareness, changing market conditions and financial pressures, changing competency and levels of education, and the fast pace of technological change. This diagram shows us a basic level of an actor map in terms of especially the top 5 levels that you can see there. This is one of the example diagrams within the book, and it shows a generic actor map giving an overview of the conditions for road transport of dangerous goods and the various decision-making bodies involved in the system. What you can see here is that we have government at the top system level, and we have various ministries of labour, justice, interior, environment, and so on. And then a level below we have regulatory bodies, national boards responsible for building and planning, road administration, occupational safety and health, police and rescue and services, and so on. Below that then we have associations, so workers' unions, employer associations, business federations, and so on. Then we have regional and local government, so we have regional authorities for road planning, for local road administration, work inspectorates, traffic inspectorates, testing, and so on. Then we have company management, so you can see here company building roads, or a company that operates and maintains roadways, company forwarding dangerous goods, and other kinds of companies. Going a level below, still within the company management aspect of this actor map, we have company executive boards, and we have company managers and local managers. Going down a level still, we have technical and operational management, and here you can see various, now going down to individual roles such as coordinator, head of logistics. And then a level down still, we have operators, or the lowest level of system, actors, the most specific, at the front line, as we might normally say, or operational level. And there we have, for instance, clerks, planners, foremen, loading personnel, truck driver, and also the customer. On this diagram now we have an empty actor map with various levels, similar to what you've seen before, but I've also added at the top intergovernmental organisations such as Eurocontrol or ICAO in an aviation context, and there are others for maritime, rail, and so on. Now, with this basic framework for actor mapping, you can use this to analyse an accident scenario, but you could also use it to look at everyday work and who the different organisations or institutions, groups, bodies, and job roles are involved or have a particular influence in the conduct of everyday work. You could also use these to represent a particular intervention or change that you'd like to make, or a project you'd like to introduce. So you could identify all of the relevant actors that might influence the change or may be influenced or affected by it. So just to finish on with some tips for actor maps, as I mentioned, they can be created before or after an ActorMap to represent causation in the context of an accident scenario, or they may be independent of an ActorMap. There's no need to perform ActorMapping if you just want to identify the actors involved in a particular situation, scenario, or system. In a sense, an ActorMap provides you with a kind of system map, but just for the actors. So the levels, as you saw, can be adapted, so you can add levels that may be sensible for your particular situation. Since this original approach was focused on accident scenarios, it was structured in the way that it was, but you may be interested in another purpose altogether, and so you may be interested in adding other actors, such as, for instance, researchers, academic institutions, or the judiciary, for instance, or the public, or the media, or any other actor that's relevant to your scenario or your system or situation. And you can include job roles, groups, organisations, institutions, government bodies, governments, any particular actor at the individual or group level. and ActorMaps may be populated via prior, primary or secondary sources. So it's something that you will tend to do at the quite early stages of systems thinking and practice. As I mentioned in the previous video about system mapping, this in a sense is a form of system mapping, but just focused on actors. And it's something that you will do usually relatively early on in your attempts to understand or intervene. That's all for this tutorial, and what you can see here is Hindsight magazine, and if you're interested in human and organizational factors in operations, then head over to Skybree at the URL that you can see on the screen, and you can see all issues up to issue number 31 being the latest. That's all for now. See you another time. Bye bye.